Good morning, everybody. Again, well, Mel and I, we dropped the truck off at a shop that we use sometimes called Maxis over in Molo, and they're going to do all the way around alignment on my truck after putting that lift kit on. And so we come on over here into Atria, and we came here to House of Monkeys, and we're going to have a little breakfast here. And they have these what they call keto breakfasts right here. Keto bacon, pork ribs, tapa,
I'm wondering, I'm looking.
Hungarian, tuna, corned beef, and bacon. See what else they got going on. They have a lot of food here for all day long. Different sandwiches and stuff. But we're just focusing the breakfast stuff right now. You can see they got little burgers and drinks and lattes and all of that good stuff. So I'm gonna pick out what I'm gonna get here, but it's a nice little place to have a breakfast. Enjoy. We like coming here to this place.
Yeah, we came over here many times.
Yes, absolutely. And Melinda likes the breakfast here, the little keto breakfast. She likes it.
I said the reason that we know this place because sometimes when we come, we have appointment to the hospital, and we come visit this place and spend time here to eat, and I like it. I like their menu here.
Right.
Yeah, and it is affordable as well.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
Not too bad.
Now, it's not going to be a huge serving or nothing. And that's one of the things. It's keto, they're supposed to be, proportion diet-like and type meal. So, yeah, pretty cool.
One keto bacon breakfast and
Yeah, keto bacon and a keto tapa. And then, Mo, you going to get something to drink?
we have
Yeah, let's see what we got here in the coffees. I think I just want a cafe Americano. Since I'm an Americano, got to keep it real. And I want that hot on the 12 ounce.
12 ounce. Okay, so
I think I'm go with the watermelon lemonade.
watermelon lemonade slash milk. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. It's pretty here. On our drive over here, right by the, whoa, too close. On our drive over here, right by the Molo Plaza, right next door to Chow King right there, is a brand new Malaysian food place that's opened up, a Malaysian restaurant. Looks pretty cool. What was the name of that?
Well, I'm sure, I'm not sure, but Malaysian.
Something like that. Can't miss it. They did this native wood finish on the outside of it and all. Not bamboo. It's done with a native wood. It's really pretty.
But of course, the makan is liver food, something like that.
So we're gonna try that out sometime in the days to come, and we'll see how that is. We'll video it there and share it with you guys and see what you think about it. I tell you what, it's been so nice not having a work crew and coming here and just doing what you want to do. And honestly, when 8 o'clock came this morning, or actually we left before 8, I've been so trained here from building the house so long that I'm like, oh man, the crew's gonna be here in a little bit. And my brain's kind of thinking like that. At 8 o'clock they're gonna show up, like I need to be showing them what they're gonna do. But there's no crew and there's nothing for me to worry about. There is some projects we're gonna be doing, but that's going to be like that whole entire crew back there. Some of them have other jobs right now and all. Mok's working in the city. Nardo's working right down the road at a building, a 2-story building they're building just right down past the subdivision. Ambin's working at a construction site somewhere too. Joel, he's just kind of been hanging around the house. Now I probably will have Joel there doing some trim work and other work here soon if he wants to, if he feels like doing it. That'd be up to him. Nardo gave word though that if we have a project come off that he's going to quit his job where he's at and come back to us. And that's pretty cool. So he said just let him know as soon as we're ready for him, he'll quit his current work. That's funny. But I'm sure he likes to be near home. Yeah. What kind of bread that is? It's a little different.
like egg though. Egg, it tastes like egg.
It's probably, no, it's a little different. So she said that this is made out of almond flour. Pretty interesting. I could tell it was different. It's good. Flavor's good. It's just the texture's a little different. I brought 4 St. Augustine sprigs with me from the United States. St. Augustine grass, lawn grass. That grass is actually really good along seashores. I have not been able to find it for sale down here. I was able to locate some up in Manila before, but it's gonna be a lot of work and journey. You know, Manila's a big place, and then, you know, I'm not gonna make a trip to Manila just to get it. I'm not gonna leave the airport and pay taxis to traipse all over the city just to get a little bit of it. So I took some from my yard there at the house. We put it in a Ziploc bag. Mel took a couple little clumps, little sprigs of it. I took a couple, and I've got them planted down here in the yard. That is exactly how I started my yard there in Texas. Exactly how my mom started her yard. It all came from my granddad, GB McLemee, and he spread it, just starting sprigs from someone else, just the same. And before you know it, those few little sprigs turn into whole entire lawns. So it's really good grass for growing on a beachside location of this. It's very tolerant towards the salt. It likes the sand. It'll grow in shaded areas if it's not too shaded, but it will grow in shaded areas. It's pretty hardy. I'm going to kind of nurture those little spots where I planted it, and as it gets some runners growing, I'll split those off and sprig over new places, and so on and so on. And maybe within a couple of years, I might have some pretty good starts in this yard. And once you can get those going, it'll just take off. And I'm really hoping for that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning from a beautiful sunshiny day here on Panay Island in the Philippines. It's been a great morning, but it's also been a little bit of an emotional morning at the same time. Woke up early this morning, normal time that I like to get up, 4 a.m. 2 days now, I've had it nailed, getting up between 3:30 and 4, just like I want it, man. I've got it down to where everything's going good on that. And then I had grabbed my phone and went to Facebook, and I saw something that really saddened my heart. And what that is that this gentleman named Steve Crett, that I had made friends with here amongst a bunch of expats here in the Iloilo area, and really enjoyed him and his wife Sheila and all. Well, Steve left this world. We knew it was probably coming, but we hoped that it wasn't. And I'll backtrack a little bit. Steve was an amazing person. Now, I don't have no long history with Steve or anything to know all the ins and outs of his life, but he told me quite a few things during our visits and hanging out and all. And Steve was big in with Apple computers and Apple products and stuff, and he made good money off of that there in Los Angeles and on. He was computer tech. He was definitely in that whole computer world in a big way. Steve was also a musician, and he was a very avid drummer. And in fact, that video that I have, that was our intro video, that's Steve here in my garage playing them drums with all of his heart. Man, love old Steve. So some of you that's been watching our channel for a while, you remember we went to California and we were in Los Angeles and all. That was Steve and Sheila that we were with there in Los Angeles as well. And I thought that's so cool that we made friends here in Iloilo, and then we actually got to spend time together in the United States also. So I'm going to digress back a little bit. Steve was on one of their stints of staying in the U.S. for a little bit, visiting family. They still had a house and motorcycle, all this stuff, a Harley there and all. And he would go back and forth, kind of like Melinda and I do. But they definitely were settled in the Philippines. They had a big property up outside of Rojas, and he raised fish, milkfish, in a very large way. They had a huge property, many hectares of fish ponds, many, large. And then he had bought up at the top of a mountain, had a poultry operation going up there where it's cooler up there. Steve, right here in this town of Tigbawan, prior to me knowing him, had went to school here at what they call SEFDEC, which is like Southeast Asia Department of something fisheries and whatever. It's like they do a lot of studies there. They do a lot of hatching there. They have a school there. They teach people about raising different aquatic life, preserving aquatic life, all these wonderful things. So Steve went to school there because he wanted to grow something. He wanted to create something from the earth. So let me give you another little digression back. So Steve met Sheila in California. Now, I believe that she either worked for a diplomat or she worked at the embassy. I believe she worked at the embassy for a diplomat. And he met Sheila there in California years ago. They had a nice, long, fruitful marriage. Beautiful son, Caleb. And Caleb went to a private school here in Iloilo. So when Steve years ago came to the Philippines after marrying a Filipina, he fell in love with the Philippines like many of us do. It was just instant love. And he's seen people raising things, growing things and all. And he had a hole in his life. And Steve had been very successful in his life with the things that he had done. But he wanted a new chapter in his life. And he wanted to do that. He wanted to grow something. He wanted to see something from nature grow and be able to harvest it and and get rewards from it and all, financially, emotionally and all. So Steve had set his mind all of a sudden that they're going to leave from Arizona and California, because he's actually from Arizona, and that they were going to have a life here in the Philippines, because he's very passionate that this is something he wanted to do. And he did. He followed that dream. And he went to the school down here. He purchased lands, him and Sheila did. Of course, I don't want to hear, the foreigner can't own nothing. Come on, he's married. It's a communal government here. And you don't own nothing in the U.S. either, buddy. Skip a couple years taxes and see what you owe. Go through a divorce and see what you own. Yeah, come on, man. So anyway, I just have to throw that in there, because I just had another one of those popped up on our vlog recently with the "you can't own anything," it's a giggle. We really, none of us own any of it. We just kind of pay the right to possess it for a little while, and that's it. So anyway, Steve, he did it, man. He put in all these fish ponds, and he's raising these fish and loving life, man. And he met other expats here in the area, and some of them were musicians, and that's where his passion was music. And so Steve, along with some fellow expats, put together a little band, and time to time there's Filipinos involved in it too. and they just had a good time playing music, singing, him raising his fish, living in a tropical country, making new friends like he did with us, and loving life. Their son went to a private school here in Iloilo, so they bought a condo here in Iloilo so that Sheila and Caleb could be close to the school right there, because it was so far away from Rojas up there. And then Steve would come down and spend time at the condo and in the city and do the band thing, and then he returned back up to Rojas to handle business up there, and all. And in the midst of all of that and getting to know other expats, we got to know Steve and Sheila. And man, I really just took up with Steve fast. And I wish I could have had many years more selfishly to enjoy him. But thank God for the time that I did get to know Steve and make some wonderful memories with him. So it's still a blessing to me, no matter what, to have known Steve. And it's a sad situation, but yet at the same time, Steve lived on Steve's terms, and that's pretty cool too. So I'll give you a little bit more story on Steve. Steve also liked to bicycle. He was avid at keeping up his health, and of course he wanted to play drums very intensely. Steve was not just slow beat, boop, 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 boop type person. Steve was a rock and roller boy, and he liked to smack it down, man, I'm telling you. And that's another thing that him and we clicked on, is I am a music nut, man. And I'm not so much a musician, but I just know so much on different artists and their style of playing and everything. And that's where Steve and I hit, because I knew so much that he was kind of surprised this guy from Texas knew. But music has been a big part of my life because of my brother growing up and being a musician, and my brother working in the rock and roll industry. And from the time I was a child, through my brother, I was really influenced with music a lot. So I thank my brother for that. But he liked to stay healthy, so he was big into bicycling, and he had very nice bikes, and he would go on these long endurance rides and trails, and keep that body fit for playing drums. And if you don't know it, when you play intense, it is really working your body. So Steve we're going to go all the way back to where I was at now. Steve had went and visited in the U.S., and he was noticing he's having trouble swallowing, and that food seemed like it wasn't going down, and he's had to drink a lot of liquid and all. So he went to a doctor, and they ran some tests and stuff, and he is waiting for a report back from the doctor, and he's waiting, and he's waiting, and he wants to get back here to the Philippines, and he's still waiting, and he's trying to contact, and there's always a reason that it's delayed, and the doctor will get with him, or they'll have like a video conference or something like that. And finally Steve said to heck with it, and he came here to the Philippines, came back home, because home's really here. And he still continued waiting for these reports back from the doctor he went to. It's supposed to be a specialist, and nothing's happening. He's getting highly frustrated, and I noticed that Steve had lost a whole lot of weight, and he's drinking all of these like Ensures and stuff, because he's basically on a liquid diet trying to survive, and he can take in small amounts of food, but you really have to wash it down. So it's having a huge impact on Steve. And I said, Steve, why don't you just go to a local doctor here? Well, he didn't, as much as he loved the country, he didn't believe that he would get good care, and he had heard horror stories, And I said, well, I'm the opposite, Steve. I got good stories to tell you. And I said, I gave him my own personal story that I'll tell eventually, that I contribute to Philippines years ago to saving my life. And I told him that, and how that I too went through a runaround with doctors in the U.S., And I gave him the whole story, and I gave him some other stories as well, other people I know that also their life ended up getting saved here. Helicopter going over. So I said, look, right here next door to me, just right here, right down between this white house here and here, is a little house that was built right here. Right here. These are two doctors. And the Dr. Kenyon there, I really like him. He's a cool guy. And I said, look, let me reach out to him. He works like up in administration in a hospital on top of being a doctor. And I said, he can give us a referral to the right doctor for your situation. And at first he was like, no. And then he called me up and he goes, do it. So I got a hold of the doc here next door, and the doc instantly gave 2 referrals. And Steve wasted no time and went to the hospital up here, and within 3 days he had his results. Within 3 days. And sadly enough, it was esophagus cancer. Now, that had to be a devastating blow, and it was also devastating that it was already in stage 4. Now, my aggravations, this is personal, my aggravations was the medical system in the United States, because they drug him out and they did not give him this result. And that's time that he should have been fighting. It's time he should have been fighting. And he lost that valuable time. And he also lost a lot of his energy and body weight from the diet that he was on because he couldn't swallow. So, once again, the medical establishment in the U.S. dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. But with all that, Steve still decided to return back to U.S. and go to the Mayo Clinic. And that was his choice he made. And I can appreciate his choice. Plus, he had a previous marriage to Sheila. He had kids with that previous marriage. Everything there. His son was going, Caleb, that was half Filipino from him and Sheila's marriage, going to school back in the States and stuff. So, of course, he wants to be there close to all the people that he loves. And I definitely can appreciate that. And Steve fought the good fight, and he went on with the Lord, and I'm going to miss him. So I hope that some of you can learn some lessons from this story while I'm telling Steve's story. I hope some of you can learn some lessons. And one thing, follow your dream. Steve followed his dream, and he got to enjoy his dream no matter what the end result was. We're all going to have that end result, whatever it is, whether it's in a car crash or plane falls out of the sky or whatever happens. We're all going to have that end result. But what are you going to do before then? What are you going to do? Are you just going to sit around and give up? Or are you going to follow your dream? Steve followed his dream, so he lived a fruitful life. He lived an inspiring life. He lived life to the fullest. We love you, brother. We love you.